Hi, I'm Tom Blomain. Welcome back to Graffiti. I'm going to read some poems from a Scranton boy, W.S. Merwin. Starting with a poem called Provision. All morning with dry instruments, the field repeats the sound of rain from memory, and in the wall the dead increase their invisible honey. It is August. The flocks are beginning to form. I will take with me the emptiness of my hands. What you do not have, you find everywhere. This is called, Is That What You Are? New ghost, is that what you are, standing on the stairs of water? No longer surprised, hope and grief are still our wings. Why we cannot fly. What failure still keeps you among us, the unfinished? The wheels go on praying. We are not hearing something different. We beat our wings. Why are you there? I did not think I had anything else to give. The wheels say it after me. There are feathers in the ice. We lay the cold across our knees. Today, the sun is farther than we think. And at the windows, in the knives, you are watching. This one is called The Poem. Coming late, as always, I try to remember what I almost heard. The light avoids my eye. How many times have I heard the locks close and the lark take the keys and hang them in heaven? This is called Finally. My dread, my ignorance, myself, it is time. Your imminence prowls the palms of my hands like sweat. Do not now, if I rise to welcome you, make off like roads into the deep night. The dogs are dead at last, the locks toothless, the habits out of reach. I will not be false to you tonight. Come, no longer unthinkable, let us share understanding like a family name. Bring integrity as a gift, something which I had lost, which you found on the way. I will lay it beside us, the old knife, while we reach our conclusions. Come. As a man who hears the sound at the gate, opens the window and puts out the light, the better to see out into the dark. Look, I put it out. Separation. Your absence has gone through me like thread through a needle. Everything I do is stitched with its color. Noah's raven. Why should I have returned? My knowledge would not fit into theirs. I found untouched the desert of the unknown, big enough for my feet. It is my home. It is always beyond them. The future splits the present with the echo of my voice. Hoarse with fulfillment. I never made promises. Under the old one, helpless improver, grown numerous and clever rather than wise or loving, nothing is newer than ever under the sun. Still specious, wanton, venal, your noises as dull and smiles, self-flattering as was usual under any heaven. How often before this you went on knees to moons of your own making, abject with no peace under the old one. Lackawanna. Where you begin in me, I have never seen, but I believe it now, rising dark but clear. Later, when I lived where you went past, already you were black, moving under gases by red windows. Obedient child, I shrank from you. On girders of your bridges I ran, told to be afraid. Obedient, the arches never touched you, the running shadow never looked, the iron and black ice never stopped ringing underfoot. terror, a truth, lived alone in the stained buildings, in the streets, a smoke, an eyelid, a clock, a black winter all year like a dust, melting and freezing in silence. You flowed from under and through the night, the dead drifted down you, all the dead. What was found later no one could recognize. Told to be afraid, I wake black to the knees. So it has happened, I have set foot in you, both feet, Jordan. Too long, I was ashamed at a distance. Beggars and kings. In the evening, all the hours that weren't used are emptied out, and the beggars are waiting to gather them up, to open them, to find the sun in each one, and teach it its beggar's name, and sing to it, "It is well," through the night. But each of us has his own kingdom of pains, and has not yet found them all, and is sailing in search of them day and night, infallible, undisputed, unresting, filled with a dumb use and its time, like a finger in a world without hands. Ash. The church in the forest was built of wood. The faithful carved their names by the doors, same names as ours. Soldiers burned it down. The next church where the first had stood was built of wood. With charcoal floors, names were written in black by the doors, same names as ours. Soldiers burned it down. We have a church where the others stood. It's made of ash. No roof, no doors, nothing on earth says it's ours. The wilderness. Remoteness is its own secret. Not holiness, though, nor the huge spirit miraculously avoiding the way's dissemblings and undue distraction or drowning at the watercourses has found us this place. But merely surviving all that is not here till the moment that looks up almost by chance and sees perhaps hands, feet, but not ourselves, a few stunted juniper trees and the horizon's virginity. We are where we always were. The secret becomes no less itself for our presence. In the midst of it, as the lizard's gold-eyed mystery is no more lucid for being near, and famine is all about us, but not here. For from the very hunger to look, we feed unawares, as at the beaks of ravens. Presidents. The president of shame has his own flag. The president of lies quotes the voice of God. As last counted, the president of loyalty recommends blindness to the blind. Uh-oh, applause like the heels of the hanged. He walks on eyes until they break. Then he rides. There is no president of grief. It is a kingdom, ancient, absolute, with no colors. Its ruler is never seen. Prayers look for him, also empty flags like skins. Silence, the messenger runs through the vast lands with a black mouth open. Silence, the climber falls from the cliffs with a black mouth like a call. There is only one subject, but he is repeated tirelessly. For a good decade, the furnace stood in the naked gully, fireless and vacant as any hat. Then, when it was no more to them than a hulking black fossil to erode unnoticed with the rest of the junk hill by the poisonous creek and rapidly to be added to their ignorance, they were afterwards astonished to confirm one morning a twist of smoke like a pale resurrection, staggering out of its chewed hole, and to remark then other tokens that someone cozily bolted behind the eye-holed iron door of the drafty burner had there established his bad castle. Where he gets his spirits, it's a mystery, but the stuff keeps him musical, hammer and anviling with poker and bottle to his jugged bellowings, till the last groaning clang as he collapses onto the riding springs of a litter of car seats ranged on the grates to sleep like an iron pig. In their tar paper church, on a text about stokeholes that are sated never, their reverend lingers. They nod and hate trespassers. When the furnace wakes, though, all afternoon, their witless offspring flock like piped rats to its siren, crescendo and agape at the crumbling ridge, stand in a row and learn. Another year come. I have nothing new to ask of you, future heaven of the poor. I am still wearing the same things. I am still begging the same question by the same light, eating the same stone, and the hands of the clock still knock without entering. Division. People are divided because the finger God named one was lonely. So he made for himself a brother like him, named Other One. Then they were both lonely. So each made for himself 4 others, all twins. Then they were afraid that they would lose each other and be lonely. So they made for themselves 2 hands to hold them together. But the hands drifted apart, so they made for the hands 2 arms. They said, between 2 arms there is always a heart, and the heart will be for us all. But the heart between them beat 2 ways already for whoever was to come, for whoever would come after, one by one. Two paintings by Alfred Wallace. 1, Voyage to Labrador. Tonight, when the sea runs like a sore, swollen as hay and with the same sound, where under the hat dark the iron ship slides, seething, hull crammed with clamors, the fluttering hues of a fever, clang battened in, the stunned bells done from the wrung-down quartons, and only the dotty lights, still trimmed abroad like teeth, their dog-hunched, will the high street of hugging bergs have come to lean huge and hidden as women, untouched as smoke, and at our passing pleased down to the private sinks of their cold. Then we will be white, all white, as cloths sheening, stiff as teeth, white as the sticks and eyes of the blind, but mourning, mindless and uncaring as Jesus, will find nothing in that same place but an empty sea, colorless, sea as a glass of water. 2, Schooner under the moon. Waits where we would almost be, part pink as a tongue, floats high on the olive rumpled night flood, 4 sails in cloud hiding such threat and beauty as we may never see. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Graffiti. I hope you enjoyed the poems of W.S. Merwin, Scranton boy. My name's Tom Blomain. See ya.